Today we've got some fantastic designer fragrances that will not go unnoticed. When you walk into a room, people are going to pick up on these immediately and they're going to want to know what you're wearing. This first one is actually a brand new release from Valentino. It is Uomo Born in Roma Green Stravaganza. It's quite the name on this one. And as they keep going down the flanker rabbit hole, the names just keep getting even more crazy. But this one has bergamot, coffee, and vetiver. So like I said, this is the new release of the year for Valentino, at least in terms of their Uomo collection here. And this one's really nice, better than I thought it was going to be. The coffee note is something that you actually pick up on, which isn't always the case. It's pretty prominent, a nice roasted coffee bean note, kind of tying back to the original Born in Roma smell, which is kind of like a bubblegummy sweetness. So you're getting that, you're getting a bit of a coffee, kind of gourmand style, some freshness, all combined into one. So these Born in Romas aren't going to be something that is going to appease the people looking for something very unique. Really, that's not what this video is about to begin with, because we're trying to be as mass pleasing as possible. Although there are a few offerings in here that we'll get to later that kind of stand out a bit more. This one is, if you just want to play it ultra safe. You want to take no chances at all. You simply want something you can pick up, spray on for pretty much any situation, any time of the year that's going to smell good. And also if you happen to like a nice mild coffee note as well, which does change things up and give you some variety, this will be one that you should check out. It's starting to work its way onto discounters now. It's been happening pretty quick with new releases. And so if you can get this one below retail, it's worth trying if you know what you're getting yourself into. Now this next one is a classic. Most of you probably have it at this point, or if you don't own a bottle, it's very likely that you've smelled it, whether you know it or not. You know, if you've gone into a store and you smelled it that way, it's great. It's also a good chance that maybe you've passed someone who was wearing this at one point. You know, it's pretty popular. Not as popular as some other releases out there, but definitely been around for a while and definitely had its little moment of hype. It's Versace Man Eau Fresh. Fun fact, this was my first ever designer purchase. It was actually this and Nautica Voyage. Bought them both at the same time off of Amazon. And that's what kicked off this entire whole mess that I've got behind me and all over the place. And so as you can imagine, this is one that I've spent a ton of time wearing. I have another bottle of this as well that is actually a little bit lower than this, and I can't find it, but I've gone through an absolute ton of this stuff. I've worn it so many times, mostly in spring and summer, but I've also worn this one in fall and winter too, especially when I first got it because I didn't know any better and it just worked. But this is something that still to this day is going to turn heads. It's going to smell great, especially in spring and summertime. It has such an uplifting and kind of happy smell about it that I really do think this could brighten people's day. You know, if you just walk in and you smell like this, it just smells like vacation. It smells like life is good. There's just something really special about this one. It's got a bunch of citrus and star fruit, musk, some white florals in here, not a ton of it. Some very, very minor woods in the dry down, but not a ton of that either. It's predominantly bright and fresh and uplifting. You know, there's been a few things here and there that kind of smelled somewhat similar to this over the years, but for the most part, if you want Versace Man Eau Fresh, you kind of just want to go ahead and buy Versace Man Eau Fresh. You know, there's really not going to be too many things that are much more affordable than this one as far as trying to emulate it. I mean, this is $40 on discounters. It's very reasonable. It has great quality. Even still, I smell this one off the opening and it's like, man, it smells great. To me, it smells more expensive than $40. And obviously it retails for more than that, but I just think it's a great bang for your buck scent that still works great and turns heads and smells amazing even in 2024. And I think it'll continue to be that way for years. Next up, we have Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Summer Vibes. So this is, to me, a pretty solid release. It's not as good as Light Blue Forever, not as good as Light Blue Italian Love. However, it's better than a lot of their other releases that they were putting out prior to those two because they were just going downhill. Those two came along and kind of brought some excitement back into the line. This was the first release after those, and I think it's pretty solid. Now this one has cypress, amberwood, and lemon, It honestly reminds me a lot of light blue O Intense, just not quite as salty and just more focused on the aromatics, like that cypress. It comes through very strong. That's essentially what this one is in a nutshell. A less salty, less marine, and more aquatic version of light blue O Intense. So you're still maintaining that mass-pleasing, fresh, Dolce & Gabbana light blue smell at heart, just with a little bit of a variation to make it different enough to warrant a purchase. And this is kind of the trend, aromatic scents. Take a look at a lot of them out there using cypress and amberwood and sage combinations like the YSL-Y lineup, Ralph's Club, and so many more. That's just to name a couple there, and those branch off extensively. It's kind of just one of the more popularized things right now, and so this one's kind of capitalizing on that. They're back to 125 ml bottles with this, whereas Forever and Italian Lover 100s, those were eau de parfums. This one is back to an eau de toilette, but it was done by Alberto Marias, of course a master perfumer, and the quality, the composition really shows through. Another one that is already on discounters. It's not new as of this year, but it's one you can get for a decent price. It works great for this time of year, and people love how it smells. Next up, we have Dior Homme Sport 2021. So as of right now, this is the current, newest, up-to-date Dior Homme Sport. I don't know when they're going to put out a new one. I mean, the one before this was 2017, so they took their time, and I'll give them credit. This is, to me, probably their best sport release yet. It's hard because the 2008 one is fantastic, but that's so long ago, and it's been impossible to get for years. So, you know, I would just kind of give credit where credit is due and say this is, again, probably one of their best ones that they've done. It's got lemon, elemi, and aldehydes. It smells great. You know, and I've said this before too, but it's not all that sporty. The 2008 was pretty sporty, still had iris. 2012 was pretty sporty. 2017 was a little bit. They're all kind of somewhat, but not like straight up super fresh. This one is probably the least sporty version that they've put out. Very, very woody, very masculine, and more so classic, and almost a little bit more old school smelling here. I was not expecting this at all when I first tried it. And I mean, even looking at the note breakdown, which you kind of see the elemi and things like that, you might think that, oh, it's going to have more of a classic feel, the lemon and stuff, but I wasn't prepared for this. But it was a pleasant surprise. I do like it. And again, that's why I'm saying that it's one of their better ones. If you take sport out of the equation and judge the scent just on the scent itself, it's a phenomenal one. But don't think that this is going to be something that you're going to want to purchase to wear to the gym or when you're working out or working outdoors in the summer if you work you know, construction or mowing lawns or something, and you think, yeah, this is a sports scent, that'll work, it's going to be good. Honestly, that's probably not the best choice. I don't know why they went this direction for this. I think this would have been a great standalone release. This could have been a great Dior Homme 2020 almost, you know, it just has a lot more character than that one as well. So it's a really good scent. It's just kind of misplaced, but it is a big head turner. It's one that you can get for a decent price considering it's still a Dior Homme scent. Definitely recommend checking it out. And I know just a second ago I was talking about the aromatic scents and, you know, the amberwood things and YSL-Y. Here we go. It's YSL-Y Eau de Parfum Intense. This is probably going to be one of my new most worn YSL-Ys in terms of like now into the future. I've been getting away from the EDP and the EDP or the Parfum as well a lot. And I've pretty much extensively been wearing this one and even the Elixir quite a bit, but especially the Eau de Parfum Intense. And you guys have seen me talk about the Eau de Parfum and the Le Parfum for years. I've worn them a lot, especially when it's warmer outside. But this one, to me, is just better. It really is. It takes away that sometimes overwhelming apple sweetness, and they just bump up the aromatics. Still getting the amberwood and kind of the linens, clean, fresh soapiness that is consistent throughout the entire line. It's just less sweet and less bubblegummy and overbearing. I would say if you're looking to get a YSL-Y scent in 2024, starting with having not any of them at all, probably get the eau de parfum intense, and then you can kind of go from there and see if maybe you want something sweeter, or maybe this has you situated right where you want it. But I think it's a really good middle ground. I think it's a really good starting point. I just think it's one of the most refined YSL Ys that we currently have. It is a phenomenal one with great performance, great mass appealing kind of properties. It's a great scent with great performance, great complement factor, great versatility, and honestly on discounters, just a touch over $100, that's not bad. Let's keep this one moving with Bulgari Aquamarine. So nothing new about this, it's been out for a while. Not quite as hyped up as things like Atlantique and Amara, but still a fantastic one. It's got seaweed, neroli, some grapefruit in here, and of course watery notes or aquatic notes as you would kind of expect. You definitely pick up on them. But it's a true marine scent. There's nothing that they're trying to shy away from with this. You know, it's really realistic. It is a little bit more fresh and kind of easier going than the original Bulgari Aqua Pour Homme, which takes this even to the next level. So I think as far as versatility and complement factor, mass appeal goes, Aquamarine is going to be the better between the two. And also, you know, Aqua Atlantique would always be kind of like the top complement polar of the entire line, but that one's discontinued. So this is going to be kind of your next best bet if you want to maintain that realistic marine smell, but still smell good to people around you. This is another one that kind of just brings good vibes. It just brings that feeling and smell of vacation right to wherever you are. Just a very uplifting scent. This next one here comes in at around, I think, $35, sometimes even a bit less. I think it's come down in price a bit since then. Hugo Boss Reversed. So I've talked about this one quite a bit. It was a very surprising discovery for me in the fact that I did not think this was going to be that good, because not too many of these Hugo Boss canteen style bottles like Hugo Boss Iced and all of the other ones, not a lot of them are all that interesting. I think this one has the best quality, best performance, is just the most interesting of the entire lineup in terms of the bottles that look like this. I don't know what you want to call this line, but you know what I'm talking about. So this one to me kind of gives off like an Elysium smell with the vetiver and the citrus and the ambroxan, ambergris, all of that stuff, but not a clone. You know, this is definitely not going to be something that's going to get you dead on. There are clones of Elysium out there. This isn't one of them, but in a similar ballpark, a citrus, woody, aromatic with a very similar vetiver style and just kind of a summery smell overall with great mass appeal and also for the price, respectable performance. Hugo Boss Reversed is a great one. Whether you're on a budget or not, this one's going to do a great job at turning heads. We'll finish this one off with Polo Deep Blue Parfum. It's got oak, orange, clary sage, some patchouli in there as well. This one is a fantastic, more refined version of the original Polo Blue, which at this point is just, you know, it's a good scent, but it's just not worth buying anymore to me. If you're someone who's building up a collection right now, starting from scratch, you know, or, you know, starting from a couple scents that maybe you've had for several years or whatever, I just don't recommend the original Polo Blue to anybody. There's so many flankers that are just so much better, this being kind of one of them and the main one that I would recommend you buy. I think the original Polo Blue is great for people who have worn it for years and it's their signature scent and they just want to stick with that. That's great. Keep buying that. That's awesome. But if that's not really applying to you and you're just building up a collection, you know, just get something like this. I think you're going to be happier with it overall. It's more modernized, it's more refined, it has better performance, richer depth and quality. It makes more sense to me. It's another one that's been on discounters for a while, so you're not paying retail anymore. It's just a nice complement pulling scent that throws it back a little bit, being that it has that classic Polo Blue smell, but again, with a modernized twist, still smells great. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some fantastic fragrances that are gonna turn heads every time you walk into a room without fail. I will link all of these down below to discounters so you can pick them up at the prices I've been talking about. Also, I've got a mailing list and a texting list you can jump onto. You'll be notified of new releases hitting discounters and also rare, discontinued, hard to find fragrances hitting discounters as well, which happens quite often. So just enter your email at the link down below and send any text to the number down below and you'll be opted in. You'll be the first to know anytime something good comes up. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.